I've always been a just do it kind of person, like just do the thing. But like we said earlier, sometimes we get in our own way. So clear your own path, because life is going to continue happening rapidly around you. So unless you move with it, before you know it, it's going to be 5 years and you still haven't done the thing. When the idea is right, the universe aligns absolutely everything.
This is Motivation. I'm Laurie Joy Kingwell.
And I'm Krissy Vann. We're two dreamers on two wheels inspired by our community.
And celebrating the voices we're just lucky enough to discover along the ride. So if not already, like, subscribe, follow along, do what you gotta do to not miss an episode.
So we all get those moments where we get this like great idea or this great vision of an adventure of a lifetime. But most times, by the time any excitement builds around it, it quickly gets drowned out by all the self-doubt, all the reasons on paper that it's just not a good time or too many hoops to jump through to make it happen. And just like that, one more great adventure waiting for us, well, it will never be. But what if you brought those naysaying voices with you? And what if you figured it out and took that chance and made it happen and went on that adventure that was given to you in your mind's eye? Well, that's exactly what today's guest, Rachel Lepley, did not even a year ago. So hailing from the bustling streets of London, Rachel stepped away from a job, marriage, and established life to embark on an adventure of change, uncertainty, and discovery. And this started with little more than a trusty INT 650 motorcycle, a gut full of courage, and she set out on a whirlwind tour across the United States. She rode 48 states in 48 days. And as you can imagine, she encountered a myriad of challenges, unexpected encounters along the way. From battling adverse weather to forging connections with intriguing characters, her journey was a tapestry of experiences that shaped her perspective and fueled her wanderlust. So join us here as we uncover Rachel's journey of self-discovery, resilience, and the pursuit of new horizons. This is your motivation.
It's the heart of February, almost said January at time of recording. And there's not many things that make you leap out of bed this time of year. It's dark, it's gloomy. We're based in Vancouver, which means we've had a shit ton of rain. The motorcycle is parked. But I did leap out of bed today, and that's because we are connecting with a guest that not only I have followed for quite some time and been inspired by the journey, but on the Motivations Instagram page, we put a call out to just ask our community, hey, who would you like to hear more from? Who inspires you in this motorcycle community? And Rachel, I want to tell you that I had several people sending you my name or your name, not mine.
Several people wanted me to be recorded, not you, but myself. I need you to know that. Yeah. Well, that's very moving.
But so stoked because Rachel, you have done something so impressive. 48 states, 48 days. You have not only done that, but completely pivoted your entire life now to do not just a state move or a province move, but a full country move and a new way of life and getting started all over again. So we want to dive into all the lessons because we know, the smooth journeys, those are great. They never happen. And the lessons are always learned in the ups and downs and the different plot twists that we gather along the way. So let's start at the very beginning. When was the seed planted that you were even going to attempt to do this? How did that spark even enter the brain?
It is a good question. And sometimes I actually ask myself that. I'm like, what? How, what, you're so screw loose. When did that happen and why did that happen? But I just really, really wanted to do a massive trip around the States. I'd ridden around the States a few times, a couple of weeks here and there, and I absolutely loved it every time. And every time I left, I'm not a big crier, but every time I left, I'd feel really choked up, like I didn't want to leave. And I'm half American, so it's easy for me to come and go. And I came back the final time in April last year. I'd gone out with some girlfriends and we were riding Triumphs around California. And I came back and I just felt so disappointed to be returning. And I came back to London and it just kind of snowballed. I had this idea of riding all the 48 states. Initially, I was like, I'll just ride all 48 states. I don't know how long that would take. And I was like, what if I put a timer on it? What if I made it like a challenge? So I originally was going to do 48 in 60 days. And I went out to Royal Enfield and talked to the guys there about it, talked to them about what we could do together on it. And they allowed me to take the INT 650. So when they allowed me to do that, and they were like, yep, you could pick it up in LA, I was like, oh, this is happening. I might as well just go and do it right now. The bike's available now. So I quit my job and flew
Well,
out.
I'm going to pause you there. Paint the picture of this job you've quit and what your life was there, because you've said it nonchalant, but I'm like, those aren't small steps.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And there's a whole other layer to this as well that I'll bring up as after the job chat. So I was head of essentially head of audio content for a tech company, a fitness tech, where we created audio-based content for users, for companies. We had major deals across the globe. So I was split between London, Mexico, and Brazil, and was running teams in each continent and creating mass content. So it was pretty full on, and I was pretty stressed out by everything. It had been such a full on job for so long that I just needed a break. There was nothing wrong with the company or anything like that. I'd worked solidly since I was about 14 through university. After university, I never really took a big break. Even in my gap year, I did solid work. And I just had this moment of like, nope, no more. I just want a break. And in my mind, I was like, well, I'll take 2 months off. I've not actually returned to a 9 to 5 since. I'm not opposed to it. I just have found other opportunities. But the other layer to this was, at that time, I was also married to an absolutely lovely man. We're still best friends. He's absolutely amazing and supportive. But I think we both come to realize that we'd been married or together a long time, coming up to 14 years, and since I was 18. And we just come to realize that we wanted to be best friends, but we were just married. It wasn't actually a marriage.
Right.
So all this stuff was kind of swirling, and I just needed some time to sit and think that through. And I just figured, what better way than that, on a motorcycle by yourself, 8 hours a day with a helmet on. You can't talk to anyone. You can't, you're just focused. And it just allowed me that. So yeah, I got the guys at Enfield provided the INT, and I flew out, and Rob, my now ex-husband, was amazingly supportive about it. And it all just came together. I think sometimes the universe, when the idea is right, the universe aligns absolutely everything. And that's exactly what happened. Like, the flights were perfect and everything fell into place. All the dates aligned. The bike was great. And then people just started coming out of the woodwork to support. It was amazing.
Do you feel like also you didn't get out of, or you got out of your own way? Like that part, how it's like, we get that vision, we get that idea, we get the momentum, all those things, but then we get in that scarcity or that like, well, what if, and this and this and this. Do you feel as though you allowed yourself to just continue with that wave?
For sure. I think it's a really good way of putting it. And I think often we don't give ourselves credit for doing that. Because I think it's such a huge part of changing your life, or huge part of creating changes. It's terrifying. It wasn't like I was like, this is so easy. I've been with this lovely man for X amount of years. I'm in a job that's great, that pays well, that everyone's very nice at the company, and everything's dandy. Nothing is wrong.
Yeah. On paper,
but
right?
It wasn't right, exactly. But you just know in your gut that you need something else. And what I didn't realize at that point, when I went out then, I was like, no, I'm just going to go out and then I'll come back to London. London is home. I'm born and bred. And what I didn't realize then was that actually, I think it was me really looking and examining at where I would land in the States. I always knew I wanted to move to the States at some point, but I was like, oh, maybe for like 6 months or something, just to have fun in the States. But I didn't realize then, and I think it's probably my own brain protecting me a bit, doing the like one thing at a time. Let's not think about moving to the States in addition to doing 48 states in a limited amount of time, and riding a bike and being by yourself and ending a marriage. And you know, it's like just do those things first, and then I'm going to make you realize that London is amazing and your family is there and you love everyone, but it's not the place anymore.
I feel like you speak to something so unbelievably relatable that I imagine those listening will have that calling moment or recognize in themselves that they're feeling it, because it's really, well, I shouldn't say easy, because no big changes are ever easy, but it's easier when you really recognize where things have become so disrupted in that space and it's very apparent and obvious that it's not right. And often that's happened to you because you've ignored the signs for so long that things tend to complicate until it forces you to make change, or you marry the misery, which often happens for a lot of people. But I really love that you highlight being like, nothing was wrong. Nothing was wrong on paper. I'm doing well. I'm doing this. But like all of those decisions are very difficult to have. Like, even though you had the support of your partner at the time, regardless, I imagine the emotion of finalizing that decision of like, hey, I'm going to take this big, bold move. So what tools did you use? Because I imagine, yes, you had the conviction and knew it felt right, but how did you manage the brain talk that must have been happening? And also from loved ones, because we know when we make a bold choice, everyone's like, sorry, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's been some good comeback from it. But I think I was really selfish. It's not something that I'm used to being. I'm used to prioritizing everyone else. But I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. And I told myself I'm doing it, because inside I was like, no, this is terrible. You're going to disappoint everyone. Everyone's going to be hurt. This is, you know, this is not the way to live your life. But I think I just kept going. I kept pushing. There's an amazing, I have it written by a calligrapher for me because I love it. There's this saying or quote, I don't even know what it's from, but it's, she wasn't ready, but she was brave, and the universe responds to brave. And I just had that on my wall in my office at home. And anytime I would nearly said to Enfield, like, maybe we should postpone a year. Or, you know, I'm looking at the various people who, you know, want to brand partner with me. And I'm like, maybe we should do it next year. Like, don't, or why me? Like, why let me do this trick? You know, there's a million other women who are way more inspiring, way more impressive, much better riders. Just let them do it. Like, I don't deserve this. I don't, and I'm going to upset everyone, and I can't, you know, but I just said I can. Every day I was like, you can, you should, you deserve it. Stop whinging and just do it. Just go for it. And
where did that voice come from? Because we all have that naysayer. We all have that not enough, not good enough, smart enough, talented enough, all the things.
Yeah.
When you said, and I just kept, where did that part come from? Was that always a piece of you, or was that a now I'm done playing the listening to that voice? Like, where did that voice come from for you?
I think it's I've never really thought about it. I've always been like, if I put my mind to something, it happens. Ever since I was little, if I want something, I get it. I've never not got the thing that I wanted. But that doesn't mean to say that I am not also crippled with that internal dialogue of not being good enough. No matter what I achieve, even with the 48 states, I'm like, yeah, but people have done so many better things. Like I'm like, it's not that, you know, she's amazing. Look at her. Like, I'm always looking at the next thing. But I think that voice, I have this kind of internal fire that sometimes I fuel, and I just let that take over. And I don't, where possible, I really don't allow those voices to dictate. They can be there, they can try and protect, they can do what they need to do to try and keep me safe. But if they're going to get in the way of what I want, then they need to be kind of pushed aside. Sometimes I nurture them. Sometimes I'll be like, no, you're all right. Maybe today's an ugly day. Maybe we've woken up not as attractive as we were yesterday. That's okay. That's all right. We can't be beautiful every day. That's fine.
That is the best way to put it ever.
You can't be gorgeous every day.
You can't. You've got to let other people have a chance, you know. So maybe it's a day that today we stay indoors. And that happens a lot. Or maybe we are the most stupid person in the room, and maybe we shouldn't say anything while we're in this room. Maybe we did make a fool out of ourselves at that party. That's okay. If
It's
they
true,
like
though.
fools,
Like,
they'll stick
yeah, like
around. I'm looking for my fellow fools. Like if they
we're all
want
the
to touch
things.
me,
Yeah. All
right?
the
Like
things. And
maybe
like
I'm
that's
stupid and
okay.
ugly and annoying, and
Yeah.
that's
Keep it
fine.
moving. Not a
And that's why
problem.
I just do 48 states and 48 days, because if you make a fool out of yourself, you're next in the, the next state. They're never going to see you again. You're already gone. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
I kind of came to the point where I was like, it's okay if people think, because really what we're worried about is what other people think of us. And
Without a doubt.
that's where that comes from, is like, I'm unattractive to who? To who? So if I'm feeling unattractive about myself and I'm going, well, that's okay today, who gives a crap? Like, that's fine. I'm ugly today. No big deal. That's cool. Like, oh well. And so with this trip, it was like, you're not good enough. You're going to fail. This isn't, it's like, well, who cares? The people who love me and the people who want to get on board are going to go, you failed. Big deal. So it's like,
Yes.
and if I can be okay
Absolutely.
with that, then, and if someone isn't okay with that, then they can move on. They can scroll on, because, and that's where some days I feel powerful, and some days I'm like, yes, I'm killing it. And other days I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst. But I think it's knowing that those days are going to be there, knowing you're going to be the worst, and being like,
knowing that's
it's
the
one of those
human
days.
condition. Yeah. You're like,
Right.
oh, this is part of it. This is that thing. I hit the panic button, or I feel not enough, but like, oh, tomorrow, just like I didn't feel this yesterday, likely tomorrow will likely feel different. So I'm not going to make a decision based on this feeling, this fleeting feeling of not enoughness.
Exactly. And I have a wonderful friend called Amy, and she is so strong on the I am enough mantra. And she says it to me, you are enough. And she says it to her other friend. And, she's really enforcing about it. So when this trip came up, and I messaged him saying, I'm going to do this big trip, but I'm going to crap my pants. So every now and again, I might text you guys and need cheerleading, and Amy and Daisy will cheerlead me. So I have these amazing girls, and I text and I'm like, today's a big day where I feel like an idiot and I'm not good enough. And they're like, you're amazing. You got this. You're so cool. Go for it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so amazing. This is great. And in my head, I'm like a dog. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Like,
rub my belly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you need friends to rub your belly. That's what you need. So on those days when you can't cheerlead yourself, they can do it for you. Yeah.
I really appreciate, though, that you highlight that. And I know it's something that we've really reinforced on the podcast, because even my mom would always say to me, well, I'm not built like you. I have these voices that say X and Y, so I can't just go and do that thing. And I'm like, no. Like, just because I have gone and done X or Y, I mean, I battle that daily. And I think that sometimes and especially in a social media world, it's very easy to look and be like, oh, well, they're doing all of that, but I have all these internal mental battles, and therefore I can't. Where I'm like, that person that's going and doing the thing, no matter how prettied up the situation looks like on the highlight reel online, everyone, you don't get to bypass that, but you can work through it, which is exactly what you were doing. So you get on that plane. I'm sure there were tears at the exit at the airport. You step off the plane and get your bike. The journey begins. So talk to me about the beginning of this ride.
Oh, it was wild. So there's an amazing company or group in LA called the Women's Moto Project, where they teach women how to ride. And I met them at an event in LA in April. So when I was arriving in LA, they offered to put me up, which was so nice. So I was greeted by these sisters that they're just like amazing. And they pick me up and we go to theirs, and I'm staying at theirs, and they have this gorgeous little boy, and it was just the best welcome, because I was like, I'm confident and I'm pretty strong, and I'm pretty fearless about most things. Like, don't shove me off a plane. But other than that, I'm okay in most situations. And I arrive and I'm like, oh this is happening. And I think had I not had them at the start of the trip, I would have had a real wobble. Boy, I would have been, but like I arrive and they're like, and I'm like, it's great. And they're like, this is exciting. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
I'll trust you.
Yes, you're
I'll
right.
piggyback
Sure.
off of this energy right here. Yeah. It's almost
So
like
yeah,
a little
this
bit
like
guardian
amazing.
angels.
It was. They, one of them picked me up from the airport and in a Mini, and it was just great. It was like my home. Like there's a Mini in
Right.
America. This is the
Right on.
smallest car I've ever
That's a
seen in the
sign.
States. I was.
That's a
I
sign.
was. She texted me like, I'm coming in a Mini, and I'm like, of course you are. Of course you are. Yeah. So they picked me up, and then the next morning I went, and I definitely left later than I thought I was going to, because my body was like, oh, okay, let's take a minute. Let's not get there at 9. So I think I ended up getting to the dealer at 11. They're amazing. I met them before, the guys there, and they're all so supportive and encouraging about the trip. And they put me on the bike. I put all my luggage on it, and looking at the bike, being like, well, I guess we start. I guess we go. Off we go. All right. So I go, and I'm riding out of LA, and in my head, I'm like, this is surreal. And then in my head, I'm like, you could just spend 40, 48 days, 60 days. It was 60 days at that point in LA, and no one's going to know. Like, you just selfie at different, LA's so varied. You could just be around California being like, now I'm in Kentucky. Now I'm in West
You with
Virginia.
AI backgrounds, like, look at me go. You're like, why does she
Wow,
have
like,
3 arms today?
Yeah.
Eiffel Towers all of a sudden in the background.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Vegas?
My mom,
Is she in
yeah.
Vegas? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I was riding, and like, and then I had this wave of thinking, oh my goodness, it's just you and your helmet. Like, you're the worst. Oh, we're just going to be thinking for like 2 months? Oh no. I was like, what am I going to do with my thoughts? And I had this moment, I was riding out of LA being like, well, this is one of the only states I can lane split and filter in. So I might as well do that as much as possible, get that out of my system, because we do that in the UK. So I'm moving on through the traffic and being like, all right, get this out, because very shortly we're going to be in Nevada, and you can't do those things. So I think in the first day, did I stay? No, Nevada was day 2. I think it might have been Arizona. No, I can't remember where I went on the first day, but it was immediately hot. So I would go through Roy's in Amboy, California, and it's 125 Fahrenheit. And at that point, I was like, this is a bit warm. It's a bit warm. So it's like that for about a week, and riding in that for 8 hours a day. So I get to where I'm going on day 2. I arrive in the house of the people I'm staying with, and I'm like, and I have it on Insta360 somewhere. I pull up, and they're like, you okay? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I'm Rachel. I'm like, yeah, no, we know. Like, have you had something to drink? And I've been drinking all day. I drank like 8 liters of water. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm drinking all day. And they're like, have you peed? I was like, no. I'm like, do you need to pee? No. Because you just sweat out, but you don't feel it because it's so hot and the wind. You don't feel that you're sweating. So I just drank 8 liters and lost 8 liters. And they essentially sat me down in an AC room with a Gatorade, being like, just stop for a bit. And it was that for a week. But I learned much quicker how to deal with that kind of heat and how to really take care of myself, because you don't realize.
Who were you staying with?
Oh, so I used this thing.
I'm like, that's lovely.
So I did 2 things. Firstly, I put on a female Facebook riding group saying, I'm doing this trip. Does anybody want to hang? Thinking it'd be fun to like just meet people. And so many women came forwards being like, stay with me. Like, you have a bed here, come through this place. So it kind of dictated some of the states where I would stay with, or like which state I would go and when, and who I would meet along the way. So many women offered to put me up, and I took quite a lot of women up on that offer. But I also use this program called Bunk a Biker, where it's global, and you look at the map and you see where the pins are, and you can stay with people along the way. And mostly cool. I had a really good experience with it. I had one woman who didn't stop talking to me for about, I think it was like 10 hours. She did not stop. She didn't even take a breath. Like, I went to pee and she carried on talking at me through a closed door. Yeah. In the morning, I got up and I was like, oh, okay, I need to sneak out. And she was already up and immediately was back onto it. And I mean, like, she wasn't creepy. She was just very talkative. And my poor little brain, after a day of riding, was like, this has stopped going in. And then there was another woman who got very obsessed with me and locked my bike in her garage.
I'm sorry, what?
She wouldn't let me leave. So I had to call a cop to get her to let me leave.
And you met a serial killer and you've just made your way there. How did that conversation go?
Well, I mean, the night before had been weird. Like I knew she was a bit odd because like I went to have a shower when I arrived. Because you arrive and you're disgusting. So I went and I had a shower and she's texting me while I'm in the shower being like, "You're so amazing. You're so great. You're so beautiful. I don't think you realize how beautiful you are." And I'm like, if this was a man, I'd probably leave right now. Like if this was a guy, I would not stay. But I'm like, maybe she's lonely. I like to give people a chance, right? So I'm like, she's probably lonely. Yes. I don't want to just be an arse. And I'm not frightened of her. It's just weird. So I come out and we went to this like bar. She wanted to meet all of her friends and stuff. And she's like, she's kind of weird at the bar. And I'm talking to the bartender. Nothing weird. His wife is next to him, but she didn't like that. And so we get back and I'm like, I'm going to go to bed now. Good night. And she like left loads of snacks by my door. Like she was very, very sweet. But she was just
that's where she would have gotten me. I'd be like, "Oh, snacks."
Oh yeah, no, that's that.
I'll live here forever. Yeah, I was like,
I know, you're like
lock my bike up. You got any sweets in there? You know,
well, if she'd had a dog, I would have stayed. Yeah, if there'd been a dog and horses,
we all have our price. Yeah, we all.
I'd have absolutely like that. I would have been like, "Sorry, I can't complete the trip, guys, because I've met my new soulmate."
Yeah, puts the lotion on. I've got gummy candies. I'm fine.
Yeah, we're cool. She tells me I'm beautiful, and I'm sold. So if anyone's listening who really wants to know how to win me over, dogs, horses, tell me I'm beautiful. Deal with my horrible internal dialogue, and snacks. Yeah. Yeah. So I wake up and I'm like loading up the bike, and I can't work out how to open the garage door. And then go to her, and I'm like, I can't open the garage door. She's like, yeah. I'm like, yes. She's like, I just thought it'd be nice if you stayed another day. I'm like, right. Well, I can't because I've got a trip to do, and you knew that. So would you mind opening the door? She's like, no. I think you need to rest.
My God.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I really feel like I'm really honored, and it's so nice you want me to stay, but I really feel like it's time to go because I'm going to be late. She's like, yeah, no. And she's just there, and I'm like, I was like, listen, I'm gonna have to call the cops. Is that what you want? You want me to call the cops? She's like, you're not going to call the cops. So in front of her on my phone, I'm like, I have to dial the cops. And I'm like, hey, there's a bit of a situation here. My bike's being held hostage. Could you come and tell her to open the garage door, please, so I can leave? And the guy is like, sorry, what? Like, he's like, I mean, I think at first he thinks I'm like she's my mom or something, and I'm having a dispute with my mom. And then I kind of explain it a bit more, and he comes by and she opens the garage door and she's crying and she's like sobbing, and he's like to me, he's like, are you okay? Like, he's like, do you know her? I'm like, well, no, not really. So I ride off, and he accompanies me, and then he's a bit weird with me. Like the cop gets a bit weird. He's like, maybe I should stay riding with you. I'm like,
yeah, they're weird in the States, those cops. I was like, that one's not such a shocker. That one's on brand.
It was the most surreal morning. I'm just trying to get out of the state, being like, why is everybody here trying to pursue me?
I'm like, what universe lesson were you being taught that day? Like, I can't even dissect that.
I don't know.
So
what state was this?
Wisconsin.
That'll do it.
No. Yeah. Well, okay. You know, those Wisconsin stalkers.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those weird things. And I think it goes to that narrative of just because it's a woman doesn't mean that you're safe, right? And with the biker, the weirdest thing is like every guy that I stayed with was super respectful, and mostly I try and stay with. If I was going to stay with a man, I'd mostly try and choose guys that listed their wife as well, which it shouldn't make a difference, but it does. And
it does, for sure.
But like I stayed with solo guys, and they were amazing, like completely respectful and completely lovely, and not weird or stalkery or anything, and didn't pursue me afterwards or during. and they were just nice, bikers being helpful. So it's like, but the one weird thing where I had, and I was thinking, had that been a man, I would have been really scared. Like that would have been
definitely.
terrifying. Like I don't know whether I would have called the police in front of him if it had been a man. Like how would I have handled it differently? I probably would have left the night before when I arrived, and I'm in the shower and he's texting me being weird. I would have left. And that's probably the note to self is like, well, if that's happening, just because it's a woman doesn't mean you're safe. So maybe get out of there. Maybe don't just hang around. Maybe, don't just trust. But like it was, nothing bad happened. It wasn't, but it was just, it was one of those moments where I was riding away and then he eventually went away and I was like, this is a surreal, that thing, like, is this real? Did that happen? And then on you go, right? On you go to stay with the next person.
I bet your standards as the trip
stranger's
continues,
house.
you're like the dreamboat guest because you're like, oh, you're not trying to hold me hostage? 5-star review.
There was one
Don't
I
worry
stayed
about
with
the
in
mold.
Missouri. I stayed with this really cool family in Missouri, and I go to my bedroom and I take I like lift the sheet up and there's just a hunting rifle in my bed, and I'm like,
Okay.
I'm like, excuse me, there appears to be a gun in my bed. There's a gun is that like a Missouri thing? Like there's a gun in my bed. And they're like, literally, oh, that's where we left it. We've been looking for that. Like in a bed?
What?
We normally leave chocolate for our guest, but thought.
Did they have children?
Like grown, like late teens.
Oh, well, still.
I was like, oh, but I've never felt more English being like, excuse me, there appears to be a gun in my bed. I don't even know how to lift that thing up. What? I just felt so. I think in those
pick it up. They're like, haha! Now you murdered Bob.
Yeah, I know. I was like this, like, well,
on.
this guy, and one of the states, a guy actually tried to gift me a gun. He's like, he texts me the night before being like, when are you leaving the state? And I'm like, tomorrow morning. When I see you, I saw something say it's absolutely beautiful. I bought it for you. I'd love to give it to you. And I think it's gonna be really useful on your trip. And in my head, I'm like, bike tool? Like what's beautiful and useful?
Right.
Bike tool? I don't know. A woman? What's he bought me? A mechanic? And he arrives the next day with this box. And I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a big box for a tool. Like, I wonder what it is. And I've got limited space in my luggage. So I lift the lid off, and it's a stunning, like, vintage handgun, still working with bullets. But in my head, I'm like, I've watched CSI. I know how these things work. So my hands are immediately like behind my head. I'm like, I am not touching it. I've already touched
Someone
the
has
box.
been murdered for sure.
Yeah.
This is a setup.
I'm like, oh, and I'm literally like, oh wow, a gun. That's so nice. You got me a gun. I can't take that, but thank you. That's lovely. You keep it, and I'll come back and get it. Please keep it away from me. Like imagine, because this is in the South. Like imagine if I'd gone to the East Coast, because I got pulled over a lot on the East Coast, and imagine if they decided to search me and there's a gun with no license, no registration.
Yeah.
I'm like I've got a US passport, but I'm also British, and like I'm technically an alien, like the whole thing. And he's like, he's like, take it. Right.
Although it's a pretty old-timey gun, it sounds like they'd be like, are you a vintage CIA?
I'm like, I am a vintage CIA. That is the department I work in is vintage.
Old-timey. I work in the old-timey
crimes for life.
Yeah.
I only do old-timey crimes. So
the trips where everything goes to plan or has nothing unexpected, who the hell wants to talk about those? Like,
right. And that, if that's, I always say to people, like, someone recently, a woman reached out to me because she wants to do this huge trip, and she was like, how do I make sure it all runs smoothly? And I was like,
you don't go. Is what you don't go.
You stay at home.
You stay home, like, girl.
I rode through storms, like actual terrifying, terrible storms for about 20 something days. Every day there'd be multiple storms because everyone's like, oh, don't worry, it passes in 20 minutes. You're like, yeah, sure it does if you're staying still. But if you're moving, it
with
moves
the storm.
with you. Yeah.
We had one of those
They're
trips
like,
this summer, and we were just like,
oh.
"Hold on, please live." But it was almost exhilarating. We'd be dying laughing afterwards, and,
Yeah.
like, everything soaked within our, like, yeah, and you're just like,
Oh,
"Well,
drenched
that
nails,
happened."
everything.
Like, you're just
Oh,
hoping a prayer you're gonna make it through those ones, and you're like,
right. And
"Okay,
they,
we
and
live."
like, just those moments where you're just like, yeah, no, this is, I rode, I was coming through, was it Oklahoma? I'm sure it was Oklahoma. And I'm looking and I'm like, the sky is such a weird color. And there's footage of me like flipping my visor up, being like, is it my tinted visor? Is it? And I'm looking so confused. I'm looking at the sky and it's getting more and more green. And I'm like, maybe I'm having a stroke. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then out in the distance, a tornado drops.
Incredible.
And
Oh.
My
I'm
former
like,
life was weather anchor, by the way, so I like nerd
was
out on
it?
the shit. Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. Where were you then? Nobody informs me that the sky goes that color when it's going to drop. And also, nobody tells me it just drops. It doesn't like, there's no like, oh, it's getting a bit
That's
windy. Oh, there's a
wild,
tornado
though.
coming. There's no sign that comes up. And well, it should have been a sign that there were no animals anywhere. There were no cars anywhere. And I'd not read the forecast. So it was kind of predicted. And it was a baby one, apparently. It looked big to me. It was a baby one. And it went the other direction. But the footage of me,
Big
and I just
baby.
looked down at the bike and I'm like talking to the bike, being like, okay, you need to move. You need to move. Like it's got its own mind. Like, go. And I'm like, no, you're in charge of it. You need to make it go. I'm like desperately trying to make an INT go as fast as it can. And it can shift. I won't say how much it shifted, but boy, we got out of there at a lick. Like had a cop pulled me over that day, I wouldn't have had much to, reason with. I would have been like, no, I absolutely was speeding away from the big thing that nobody told me about.
Yeah, you're like, I was out running a tornado. Does that
Like,
give
yeah.
you the
fair.
ticket, officer?
Yeah. It's like, officer, look at what I'm on. It would have eaten me alive. Like, no. Yeah. But yeah, no. So if anyone's listening, if the sky's going green, get out of there. Don't just, oh, wow, that's cool. Huh. Apparently Oklahoma has green skies. It's cool.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
So stupid.
I know. It's like that's the best part though. Like
That's my love language.
It is my love
when
language.
I said like some days you are the most stupid person in the room, that was my day, being definitely
Those are
the
the
most
best
stupid person.
days. Obviously, you've had all these different characters that are introduced along your journey, and I'm sure so many of the highest highs and probably those moments where the inner narrator is being less friendly, some of those low lows that you did have to call the cheerleaders and be like, help push me through. And before we led the conversation, and I just want to actually put out a trigger warning before we even get into it, because I know that you did witness a motorcycle fatality. So for someone that's perhaps listening that not the time, we'll put the timestamps in the show notes for when this part is done so that you can continue on your way. But I just want to be respectful of that. But you go to Arizona and tell us a little bit about what happens there.
Yeah, it was one of those days that started so well. So I went up a mountain ride and I was thinking on that thing, I was like, God, this is a pretty twisty mountain. And the advised speed limit is 15 miles an hour. That's what they recommend. It's pretty tight and they are pretty blind curves, most of it. So I go up this mountain having a great time and there's pretty much no one there because I went for sunrise and I'm like, oh my God, living my best life. It's so beautiful. The sunrise, I'm by myself, look at my bike. It's so amazing. And then I rode down and I stopped to take some photos. So I pull into this, like a viewpoint. So I pull in and I'm taking photos and I turn around and this kid whips around on a sports bike way too fast. And there's a woman running up and it's a little bit gravelly and he does not have the experience for that bike. So he clearly fixated on her and he hit her. He survived and she didn't. It was just the three of us for like probably like minutes because there were cars starting to come. So like all of a sudden it was pandemonium, but I like one of those things. I just stood there and you don't know how you're going to react in those moments. I think I felt eerily calm. So I run over, I get the bike out of the road. And it's weird, we can talk about my crash. It's weird the super strength you get from adrenaline. like I can pick up a bike, but normally I have to, I have to think about it. You kind of, you place yourself and you plant and you push and you do the thing. But I think I just kind of got it up and I wheel it to the side of the road. And at this point, people are with her and his friends have arrived and they're with him. And then ambulances are coming and I'm sat there and at that point I start to feel really sick. Because you just like, and I was just really confused. I was just in shock. But you think you're not, you think you're fine, and you think you're there, and you're like, you don't quite register what you've just seen.
Yeah.
But you know what you have. But you're like, but I was just watching the sunrise, and I'd seen that runner at the bottom of the hill. Like I'd seen her and kind of joked to her, I'll see you at the top. And then it's that really strange moment of someone's life, two people's lives have completely altered in 1 second because someone rode irresponsibly. That's what he did. And, when those guys and gals treat those roads as a racetrack on bikes that they cannot handle. And, my heart does go to him because he didn't mean to do that. But you can't ride like that. And the cops came and one of them, so they took a statement from me, obviously. And one of them, he was super kind. He was on a bike and he was like, do you want me to ride you home? Do you want to sit on the back of my bike? And I was like, no, I was like, really, sometimes when you're in shock, you really fixate on something. And I was like, I don't want to leave my bike. He's like, it will be completely safe here, or we can trailer it for you. Like we can get it picked up for you. But I'm like, no, honestly, officer, I remember saying like, I'm a good rider. I'm a good rider. Like I can ride. And he was like, I'm sure you can. But I feel like, you should be on my bike. I was like, officer, it will give me so much anxiety to leave my bike. I don't want to do that. He's like, okay, well, why don't I ride back with you? So really super sweet. We rode at like 5 miles an hour and I'm like shaking on the bike. And I then stayed for a few more days and he checked in on me a few times over the space of a few days, which was really kind and not in a creepy way, which there was a bit of me that was like, please don't let him be a treat. Please don't let him come on to me. Like that would ruin everything. But no, he was really respectful and very kind. And I had my Insta360 running. So they took my memory card because it showed the whole thing. I didn't rewatch it, but I know it was running. So, because I left it on the bike and obviously it's 360, so it caught the entire thing. So it's kind of case closed. And I don't know what happened. I've not really followed it afterwards. I didn't really stay in touch with what happened. They said I might have to go to court, but I don't think it even went to court in the end because I didn't get a phone call. So, but no, it was just like a really sad, heartbreaking event because it shouldn't have happened. It just shouldn't have.
How did you take care of you though? Because I know
Yeah.
you're speaking to right? Because at the end of the day, I know you said 2 lives forever altered, really 3,
Yeah.
that's very traumatic.
No, it is. And I think I was really gentle with myself for the rest of the time I was out in the States. And I actually rode 2 days ago in Montana. The weather's been amazing. So I rode and there are like a very gentle little twisty paths, but I did feel myself go like, like I'm now way more tight on twists and turns than I ever was. Like before I was pretty comfortable. When I started riding, I wasn't. And then I got, you find your rhythm with it. But now I'm extremely conservative. I've never been a risky rider. I'm not someone that rides in a way that, I think is risky. I'm pretty boring. But I did notice that I was being far more upright and tight than I have been in the past. And I think that's absolutely, having seen that and knowing even in the back of my head, because I compartmentalize things pretty well. I don't like to let things hang on. And I think my brain, when something is so traumatic, it actually does the opposite. It goes, oh, well, and it kind of just goes, well, we'll just put that over there. And I leant into a little bit when I had to ride, a few days later, I had to get back on the bike, couldn't stay there forever. So just being really patient with myself and knowing that my rides would no longer be the same. Because the risks, we all know it. When we get on a motorcycle, we know the risks. We know what we're putting ourselves in for. but most of the time you think it will be someone else's error that puts you at risk. And we have to ride in a way that keeps ourselves safe and never go so fast that you can't see the risks coming. That's generally my advice. It's like, go at a speed where you are aware. If you can't be aware at 60 miles an hour, then do 50. Like, just don't, you've got to keep it within your limits. But it's terrifying when you realize that if someone else doesn't do that, and you could just be on your morning jog, you know? So yeah, I think it really impacted me, but it didn't stop me from riding. And then when I had my crash about a month later, 6 weeks later, that also didn't stop me from riding, because again, you know what you're putting yourself in for.
What
and I think it's
happened in
about
that
you.
situation?
Yeah.
Well, I was riding and I had someone on the back of the bike, and the next thing I knew, we were both skating along the 405 in LA
No.
at 11 p.m. And
Was
I'm
this
in all
after
black.
your cross country travel? So to interrupt
Yeah,
you there,
this
but
is
you've wrapped it
like,
up and okay.
wrap it up. It's 3 days before I'm due to fly home. And I was knocked out immediately and thrown into the road. And he traveled with the bike. He was okay. We were both, I broke quite a few things. But really, like, it was one of those weird universe moments. I'm not religious, but I know religious people would feel like this is a religious moment. We were riding in front of an ambulance. So that paramedic, she was able to stop traffic
Immediately.
Sirens on immediately. She saw what happened. She stopped it. And then, so he was protected. I was lying on the road because they traveled and I ragdolled and stayed where I was. But I wake up and I'm like, this is a weird place to have a sleep. Like, I was like, why am I lying down here? It's so uncomfortable. It's so bright. Why is everything so bright? So I take my helmet off. I'm like, why am I wearing my helmet? And I'm like, oh no. I'm like seeing like 18 wheelers doing whatever it is, 65, 70 past me. And I'm in all black and there's no street light. So I'm like, wow. And I'm up. And I'm, adrenaline. So you don't realize you're concussed, you're broken. So I'm like running over to the bike. And again, it's that superhuman thing. You just pick it up. It's a 260 kilo bike. You pick it up, you take it off to the side, and the paramedic's like, are you okay? And I'm like, She's like, what's your name? And I'm like, I know my name. She's like, do you? And I'm like, yep. She's like, can you tell me? I'm like, do I have to? Like, I'm never this rude to anyone. But in my head, I'm like, what is my name? And you get really indignant because you're like, ugh. And she was like, okay, well, that's okay. You don't have to tell me your name. How old are you? And I go, 19. And she's like, trying to be nice. She's like, are you? Like, no, but I was born in 1919. She's like, were you?
You're just really trying to sell it. You're just
like,
grabbing onto whatever you got.
No, I was born in July. She's like, okay. She's like, I'd really love to check you over. And I'm like, I'm fine. Look at me. Like, my clothes weren't even that ripped up. I'm hiding my helmet, which is, scraped. But
Your
not
legs facing backwards. You're like, I'm
Oh, yeah, my
fine.
head is the other direction. But I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, I'm absolutely good. And he looks fine. And the bike, to anyone who doesn't know, the bike looks absolutely fine. So I'm like, can we go? And she's like, I can't stop you. So we get back on the bike and ride to a gas station. We get off at the gas station, and it's at this moment, I'm like starting to get that kind of hot concussion feeling. And I'm like, dude, I think we need to get an Uber. So he's ordering an Uber, and I'm like, I'm just going to put the bike on the center stand. And I go and I try and push it down. And it's that moment that I realize that I have a very broken foot.
Holy shit.
I'm like,
crazy.
oh, that's really painful. So I go to try the other foot, and I realize I've probably got a broken rib or something broken on this side. So I can't get the bike on the center stand. And I'm like, can you do it? And he's like, I don't know. He's a rider as well. So he's not, like, thankfully, he's not, someone that doesn't ride. So again, when you get on the bike, what what you're in for. But yeah, it was just one of those things. And then the body kicks in, the adrenaline wears off, and you realize like, oh my God, everything's broken. Everything's broken. Oh my
You need
God.
help after all. Like, turns
Right. But
out
you're like,
you needed
that's
her.
broken. This hurts. Oh my goodness. But I just, similarly after that, I flew back to London a few days later and got checked out, got sorted out, and was immediately thinking, well, I need to get back on a bike. I can't let this stop, like, take my joy away. Like this horrible moment, this horrible incident, these horrible 2 moments that I've never witnessed in my years of riding. And suddenly there's 2 within the space of 2 months, and which probably lines up, now I think about it, probably changed how I ride and, everything. But I got back and I was like, well, the most joy I've ever felt is when I've been on a bike, doing that trip, doing my thing.
Yeah.
So I have this triumph that I love at home. And I was like, well, I want to ride my bike. So I rode my bike the minute I could. Obviously, while you've got a broken foot and broken hand and all the things, you can't. But I just,
well,
I
our
took it at my
girlfriend
own pace.
Kim would disagree. She would like get on with her broken foot or like wrist. She even had a broken wrist.
Oh my God.
On the
She
block
broke
and you're
both
just
of
like,
them.
Just let
She
it
had
heal,
to like
girl.
all the things in casts. And then the best was she cut her cast off because she was like over it. We go away and she's got like the bolts sticking out of her wrists that are also getting a little gnarly. And you're just like, what in the
Yo.
It'll figure itself out.
I mean, I have that as well. Like, I have that kind of ethos of like, the body will do what it'll do, and this will be fine.
I think all of us, it's part of like the stubbornness and the go get it and just go. It's maladaptive when it comes to the healing process. It's not as, it's very adaptive of going after your dreams. It's maladaptive when it comes to like, maybe I should pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Here we are.
You just don't, do you? Because when something makes you that happy,
yeah,
those endorphins definitely lead the show, right? They're like, no, I want that thing. And I don't want to, I'm not going to let my body or my mind get in the way of my ride. And you're like, well, maybe it should. Maybe today.
Just temporary.
Maybe that's an ugly day.
Yeah, maybe it's an ugly day. Maybe it's a don't ride today, right? But I get that. Like, I get mornings, I was saying to my boyfriend the other day, I was like, if I wake up and I'm feeling like PMSy, or if I'm feeling really tired or just not quite with it that day, I do not ride. I do not get on the bike.
Yeah. I think a lot of us are actually
turned around and gone
too.
back.
Yeah. Yes. When like weird shit's happened or I just can't get it together and I look and I'm like, this is not the day to ride. Go home. Go home. It's like listening to that instinct that says, or like go the long way, take the whatever it is, but like you really have to listen to your instinct on things too. Because there's so many moving parts to staying safe on the road and continue doing the thing that you love to do. So if you have to cut your beautiful sunny day trip that you could go to, a 2-hour ride down to 15 minutes, well, that means you get to ride another day.
Absolutely.
So you just shut her down.
I totally agree. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with going, today's not the day. I think that's something that I didn't learn for like a year. I used to kind of push through and then get home and be like, oof, there were some close shaves that didn't need to be close. And that was me. That was my fault. I caused that. I didn't see that car, or I saw that car and I decided to do that maneuver anyway. And like now I just I wouldn't do that. I'd just be like, my brain's not with it. Or even if you're feeling a bit angry, like I don't like getting on the bike if I'm angry. Then ride like an angry person and then you're angry at everyone. And that's can be satisfying. It's kind of satisfying when you get to yell at all the cars and they don't even know. But
except when you're in Bluetooth with your husband and he has to hear you yelling in your helmet. And he's like, remember, I'm with you on this, because I'm like, you fucker. And like, he's just like ringing in his ear. Well, can you imagine that? Someone screaming, all of a sudden you're not prepared.
Oh God. Oh no, for me it's singing. I sing. So the other day, my fellow was like, oh, we should connect our cardos. And I was like, I don't know if you're going to want me to do that, because I will sing at you. Even if I'm listening to a different song, I might sing a different one. Like, I don't know if you want, or I'm like, I narrate everything. I was like, this might break us up.
I'm a narrator for sure.
Are you?
Like all
Okay.
people would hear on the ride is like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Oh, that way. See, yeah. Gotcha.
You're like a Disney narrator. Aren't we
Yes.
lucky to be alive? Yeah.
That's 1,000%. I'm like, they look majestic and they don't even know if I like toward the back of the pack.
Oh man, I often do it about like the other women on the ride. If I'm with women riders, I'll be like, "Wow, look at her, she's so great. Oh, that was so badass. Well done, you. Great job." And then like I'll realize we're on a call and people are like, Rach.
I wonder
We
if
can
Hell's
all
Angels
hear
do
you."
that. I wonder if they're like,
Yes,
if they're
bro.
just like,
Good
yeah,
job, bro.
man, you look murdery. You look.
Your patch is so big today. I love it. You rumble.
Did your beard grow overnight?
Yeah.
Wow, that's burly.
Your odor is amazing.
Yeah,
Really
sure.
stenching up my helmet. No helmet, probably. That's a lie.
No.
Yeah.
Just no.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have a question when it comes to, it's gonna be, well, maybe it does have the silly factor, but you never know. But you know, when you were done this trip, I know any of the rides that I even do for like 2 weeks or however long we're on the road, let alone for 2 months, and so much happening within that. If you can kind of narrow it down, what were some of the bigger takeaways that after you were finished had time to kind of reflect, or even if it happened on the road, sometimes it happens, those aha moments on the road too, right? What are some of the bigger reflective moments that you've had to follow that really epic trip?
It's a good question. I think a couple of things. I've always been a just do it kind of person. Like just do the thing. But like we said earlier, sometimes we get in our own way. So clear your own path because life is going to continue happening rapidly around you. So unless you move with it, before you know it, it's going to be 5 years and you still haven't done the thing. And so I really feel like obviously everybody's circumstances are different, but I created a circumstance in which this was possible. I had to sledgehammer some things. I had to physically put myself in positions to make it happen. And so much has happened because of that. I think listening to whatever it is that you want to listen to, whether it's yourself, whether it's the universe, whether it's God, whatever your faith system is, whether you are your own faith system, listening to alignment and listening to the things that happen, because so much opportunity is out there. If you allow your periphery to see it, you have to allow it in. You kind of have to allow it to happen to you and not control. So I'm pretty controlling. I like things to go as they go, or I definitely used to be, but I think this has allowed me to go, well, the right thing is going to happen. Good things are going to come. And you, if you change your perspective on it, good things will feel good. Things that maybe you didn't see, you will suddenly highlight differently, because if you're there going, well, today is a good day. You know, I sort of took, there's a slight path divergence here. There's a card that I love, which is an illustration of a dog. And it's like, today's Wednesday. I love Wednesday. Wednesday's my most favorite day. It's the best day. Wednesday's amazing. And the dog's owner is like, it's Thursday. And the dog's like, Thursday's the best day. I love Thursdays. Thursdays are great. And it's just this, and it really actually weirdly inspired me to be like, no, every day can be a good day. Be like a dog, be a Labrador. Every day is great. Even the days that are horrible, there's something in there for you. So I think that those for me, probably the biggest takeaways is like, just do the thing, make it happen. And allow things to happen. Don't control so much. Had I not done this trip, I wouldn't have met the person I'm with now. And he's wonderful. And that was a hugely aligning moment, how we met and how we nearly didn't meet. And what I was saying that morning, I was like, I'm not, I don't want to be with anyone. I just want to be by myself. And, our marriage was ending and we're still really best mates. My ex and I, we're on such great terms and I think the world of him, but it's still a loss. And that morning I was saying to the guys I was with, I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like it would take someone absolutely magnificent, like really special to turn my head. And they were like, we should write a list. And I'm like, no, I'm not writing it. And that's so dumb. I'm not doing that. No. So we write this list, and I'm really specific on it. I'm like, he needs to like musicals. He needs to sing. He needs to be able to do this. Like I'm really taking the mick because I think it's a dumb exercise. And I've met the Mary Poppins, right? I Mary Poppins him out of the fireplace, wherever she comes from. But without this trip, without those moments, without me listening, even in those final weeks, without me listening to opportunities that were being presented to me, I would not have met him. And, you know, even our timings as I came through Montana, I didn't meet him here, and I should have. He's got the only Royal Enfield dealership in Montana. So I should have met him here, and I didn't. So it's one of those things we met.
Where did you meet? Now we gotta, you can't just leave us on the cliffhanger.
We met in Texas, of all places.
He gifted me a vintage gun. No,
he did. Yeah. He gifted me, and he locked me in his garage, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the moment. But it's just the, you know, there were all these things that lined up that kept me in Texas a little bit longer, another week. Things kept coming in. And the day before I met him, I was like, why did I stay in like such a weird thing? And yeah, and then I met him. It was one of those moments where you're like, oh no.
And he was like, New York.
Yeah. It's like, have you seen all of these musicals? And I was like, oh.
I mean, Texas musical.
I was going to say, speaking of musicals, Laurie, I feel like it leads us in perfectly to our...
Okay, I'll go high this time. Microphone low so that I didn't hurt people's
I absolutely
ears.
loved that. Maybe I should be one of you instead.
Yeah, you just go for it. Just lean in.
So our motivation maintenance is a little tool that we can put in our toolkit to help us basically digest what you've given us today, which is a gift of amazing stories and takeaways, but to try and actually implement some of those lessons into our lives. So what would you be adding to our toolkit today?
I would say, where possible, every morning, say to yourself, today is a good day and I get to do today. Works
Absolutely.
For me. Works for me.
Well, and I know we kind of like leave our podcast on a little quote. And I know that you shared an amazing one at the beginning of this, but do you have one that's a little note to fuel our day today?
There's another quote I love. It's an extract from Aldous Huxley, and the takeaway from it is to tread lightly. It's something like, tread lightly, my dear, tread lightly. Even when things feel heavy, tread lightly. And there's a whole section. I'll find it. I'll send it to you guys so you can put it up there. But I love that thing of just walk lightly. Even if things feel super heavy, don't bog down. Just try and stay light on your feet and just try and move gently through it. Don't let it weigh you. I used to let things really weigh heavy, and now I just try and just mosey through.
There's so much value in that because I'm really guilty of that myself in a current element of my life I've been working through. So I appreciate that because I know it's not the only one. We started off, obviously, you've got this great community and following that's building. As I say, many people sent your name to be like, we want to know more about the story. So for those that are just meeting you for the first time, how can they follow you and connect?
For now, come and find me on Instagram. It's RachelMoto_. I will be putting everything up on YouTube as well, but DM me. I always come back to every DM. So reach out to me if you have questions. I am right here.
All right, my friends, that is your motivation.
You've just listened to the Motivation Podcast with your host, Krissy Vann, and me, Laurie Joy Kingwell.
Thanks for joining us along the ride. We've got new episodes dropping every Monday, and we're all about community. So follow us on Instagram at Motivation Podcast and visit our website at themotivation.com.
And in the meantime, tanks full and full throttle.